Okay, good morning. This is the time and place for the Planning Hearing Officer hearing for Wednesday, February the 22nd, 2017. My name is Vilya Zamaitaitis, and I will be conducting the hearing as the Planning Hearing Officer. We have two cases today on the agenda, and relevant exhibits are posted on the panels located directly behind me. Should note that one of those two cases is actually going to be continued, and this would be for Conditional Use Permit PCUP 1624238. It is for a massage establishment, CUP renewal for 1346 East Colorado Street for Ocean Spa. And so this case is being taken off today's agenda and will be continued to the March 8th, 2017 hearing date. So with that said, we have one remaining case on today's agenda, which is a conditional use permit, PCUP number 1625871 for 422 Magnolia Avenue. I will just briefly go through it because there are 4 required findings for a conditional use permit that need to be met in order to be able to approve the CUP for the proposed brewery. If the evidence presented in the application and at the hearing meets the criteria of the findings, then I would be able to either approve it, impose conditions of approval in the case in questions, and if the findings of fact cannot be made or are not evident, then the request has to be denied. So, public notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to all property owners and applicants within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question, and placed in the local newspaper. The hearing will proceed as follows. I'll read the description of the application request. I will read any reports received from other city departments and other letters or communications from interested parties. The case planner will make a brief overview of the case, give analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will then be asked to come forward stating both name and address for the record and will be asked to present the case within a 15-minute time limit. Others in support or in opposition to the application and interested parties will be asked to come forward to speak again, clearly stating both name and address within a 3-minute time limit. And lastly, the applicant will be given a chance to rebut any comments and testimonies given by preceding speakers within a 5-minute time limit. The hearing will then be closed and the case taken under submission. After the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at the hearing or submitting written responses. And just note that the date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. And appeals must be filed within 15 calendar days of the decision date. Again, if you wish to speak, please write your name and address on one of those speaker cards provided by the front door and submit it to our planning assistant. I would also like to inform everyone that the official proceedings of the planning hearing officer's hearing are recorded on video as part of the public record. Okay, with that said, again, this involves a request for a conditional use permit, case number PCUP 1624238 for a project located at 1346 East Colorado Street. And I apologize, I'm reading off the previous one that we just continued, but would be conditional use permit PCUP 1625871 for a conditional use permit located at 422 Magnolia Avenue, and this would be for Paperback Brewery. The project description is an application for a conditional use permit to allow a proposed tavern, a brewery with a tasting room, with on-site sale, service, and consumption, as well as off-site sales of alcoholic beverages in the I&D industrial zone. And the project is exempt from CEQA, from California Environmental Quality Act review, as a Class 1 existing facilities exemption. So with that said, I would like to turn the hearing over to Ms. Tamar Saad to continue with a brief project description.
Thank you. As stated, this is a hearing for a conditional use permit, PCUP 1625871, for a tavern with on-site sales, service, and consumption, and off-site sales of alcoholic beverages. The proposed tavern is located at 422 Magnolia Avenue. The business name is Paperback, and the applicant, Chris Sesnick, is present here this morning to answer any questions following my presentation. To provide site context, 422 Magnolia is in the industrial area of the general plan and in the industrial zoning district. The lot is approximately 7,431 square feet and is developed with a single-story building with a mezzanine totaling 6,031 square feet. The majority of the subject space, approximately 4,088 square feet, will be utilized for the manufacturing of beer, and the remaining 2,213 square feet will be used as a tavern. The subject site is surrounded by industrial zoning and has equipment storage, auto repair, printing services, and manufacturing uses to the north, south, east, and west, respectively. The proposed tavern is consistent with elements and objectives of the general plan. The subject site is an industrial area along Magnolia Avenue, identified as a local street in the circulation element, and just west of San Fernando Road, identified as a major arterial in the circulation element, that is suitable for this type of use. The operation shall be required to comply with the city's noise ordinance and, as such, will be consistent with the noise element. Given that the project site is already developed, no other elements of the general plan, including open space, recreation, or housing elements, will be impacted as a result. Taverns are a conditionally permitted use within the industrial zone and therefore consistent with the land use designations. The applicant's request to operate a tavern would be in keeping with the goals of the area to promote business and related commercial uses. The applicant's request for a conditional use permit for a tavern in the industrial zone is not anticipated to be detrimental to the public health or safety, the general welfare, or the environment as conditioned. Magnolia Avenue currently has a number of industrial use businesses and one tavern named Glendale Tap, which has been in existence since 2012. According to the Glendale Police Department, Glendale Tap has had no major incidents in the last year and only one departmental report in the last 4 years. The existing industrial businesses have coexisted with the tavern for many years without detrimental impacts. Therefore, it is not anticipated that the proposed tavern offering on-site consumption and off-site sales of alcoholic beverages will impact the existing nearby uses. According to the Glendale Police Department, the proposed tavern is located in Census Tract 3024.01. The suggested limits for the census tract is 5 on-sale and 3 off-sale establishments. There are currently 10 on-sale and 8 off-sale licenses in this tract. Based on Part 1 crime statistics for the census tract 3024.01, in 2015 there were 515 crimes, which is above the city average of 178. While this is higher than the citywide average, these crimes were not associated with Glendale Tap as mentioned, and therefore the addition of another tavern is not expected to increase these crime rates. Suggested conditions made by the police department have been included in the draft conditions for approval to ensure any potential negative impacts will be appropriately mitigated. There are a few public institutions such as schools, churches, parks, a fire station, and a hospital located in the general vicinity of the tavern. However, these public institutions are not anticipated to conflict with the applicant's request for the tavern, nor is the operation of the tavern anticipated to be detrimental to the safety and public welfare of the neighborhood. Adequate public and private facilities such as utilities, landscaping, and traffic circulation are provided for in the site and proposed use. The project site is already developed and associated facilities are in place. There is one on-site parking space available. However, the applicant has applied for and been granted a parking exception, PPPEX 1622421, on January 26, 2017. While the surrounding businesses generally operate Monday through Friday and close prior to 5 p.m., Paperback Brewery would not see an influx of patrons until after 5 p.m. on weekdays and on weekends. The difference in hours of operation creates the availability of on-street parking. The applicant did conduct a parking study Thursday, November 3rd through Saturday, November 5th, which revealed that at any given time there were between 40 and 67 on-street parking spaces available within a reasonable walking distance of the brewery. Hours of operation are proposed from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Friday, and 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. The conditional use permit was routed to the various city divisions and departments, and no major concerns were received. Suggested conditions made by the police department are included in the draft conditions for approval. The applicant is not expected to negatively impact the neighborhood, and the suggested conditions for this CUP would serve to mitigate any potential negative impacts. Only one email was received from a member of the public, and it was in support of paperback. I have the email with me and available to read it if it is necessary to read it into the record. Okay. Staff believes that all 4 findings of the conditional use permit can be made in a positive manner, and therefore does recommend approval with conditions. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions the planning hearing officer may have. And as mentioned, Chris Sesnick, the applicant, is also here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, I will call up the applicant, Mr. Christopher Chesnick.
Good morning. Christopher Sesnick, 4350 Stern Ave, Apartment 10, Sherman Oaks, California, 91423. The name of the business is Paperback Brewing Company. Good morning, members of the city, members of the community. My name is Christopher Sesnick, and with my partners Brandon Monroe and Grant Nemero, we are the founders of Paperback Brewing Company. The proposed business will specialize in the brewing and distribution of California-style ales, along with various German lagers and specialty beers. Over the past decade, there has been a surge in craft breweries across Southern California, and breweries continue to open at an exponential rate. Less than 2 years ago, when my partners and I decided to focus on opening a brewery, there were 28 active breweries in Los Angeles County. Today, there are over 50 in Los Angeles alone and 5,000 across America. Local breweries are popular for many craft beer drinkers because they offer a unique, artisanal beer from a local small-scale production facility. The proposed tasting room at 422 Magnolia Ave will be classified as a tavern with a respective conditional use permit. The location of the proposed tavern is an industrial zoned area of the Breeds Love subdivision. Within walking distance, there are retail shops, residential buildings, public transportation, and an existing tavern. As an accessory to the brewery, a tavern component will consist of 2,213 square feet. For patrons who sample beer on site, they can choose from a selection of 4-ounce taster pours, 8-ounce half pours, or 16-ounce full pours. For off-site consumption, patrons will be able to purchase 64-ounce refillable glass containers known as growlers. Customers may refill growlers with any paperback beer that is served on tap in the tavern. In addition to growlers, prepackaged bottles and cans will also be available for purchase for off-site consumption. Paperback Brewing will offer only paperback beer in the proposed tavern with the occasional guest tab. Most surrounding businesses to the proposed tavern operate Monday through Friday and close prior to 5 p.m. Paperback Brewing would not see an influx of patrons until after 5 p.m. on weekdays and weekends. The difference in hours of operation creates the availability of on-street parking. A parking study was conducted which revealed that in any given time, during business hours, there are 40 to 67 spots on street, available within a reasonable walking distance to the brewery. Sufficient parking requirements have been met, and parking exemption has been granted for the city, for this use by the city. The Glendale Tap, an existing tavern located 2 buildings east of the proposed tavern, has been in existence for a number of years. According to the Glendale Police Department, the Glendale Tap has no major incidents in the last year and has not had any significant detrimental effect or has proven to be disruptive to the surrounding uses. Comparably, the proposed paperback tavern is not expected to negatively impact nearby uses. Neither the Glendale Police Department nor Neighborhood Services Division cited concerns related to this conditional use permit. The proposed use will not be detrimental to the public health or safety or the general welfare or the environment. Adequate public and private facilities such as utilities, landscaping, and parking have been provided for the proposed use. As the project site is already developed, no such facilities are required. The proposed use will not contribute or intensify adverse impacts as a tavern. It will only retail paperback brewing beer with the occasional guest tab, no hard alcohol, wine, or any other alcoholic beverage made by any other producer will be sold. This proposed use is allowed by the California Department of Alcoholic Beverages Control as a part of the Type 23 license, which allows for a small beer manufacturer to sell beer for on-site and off-site consumption. The proposed tavern will limit its service hours to those similar of its neighbor, the Glendale Tab. These hours will be Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. and Saturday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. The owners and staff will be trained through various programs to take every precaution necessary to ensure public safety and the safety of their employees. Programs provided by the ABC, such as LEADS, will provide high-quality, effective, and educational training on alcohol responsibility and the law to California retail licensees and their employees. Furthermore, the proposed tavern will not adversely affect nor be detrimental to the public or surrounding areas, including, but not limited to, schools, churches, daycares, parks, or hospitals. It will abide by the proposed conditions that are intended to ensure compliance with all municipal codes and state laws. Paperback Brewing Company is very excited to make a home for itself within the Glendale community. Whatever the reason for a customer to visit Paperback, we will offer a friendly and fun and welcoming environment where beer lovers can relax and enjoy quality crafted beer direct from the source. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a few questions now.
Sure.
Right now, you are proposing to occupy an existing, what used to be a Quonset hut.
Right.
And your tasting room within the Quonset hut, which I believe you're utilizing the mezzanine.
Yes.
And also the ground floor, has a total of approximately 2,200 square feet.
Yes.
Give or take. And so the rest is going to be devoted to actually the manufacturing of paperback.
Yep.
Correct?
That's correct.
Now, the Quonset hut, and when I did my own site inspections and it's shown in the photographs, you have essentially sort of a loading door at the front, and then a single door, a standard 36-inch door.
In the front.
Are you proposing, how are you utilizing the existing Quonset hut in terms of its operation? Are you going to have these loading doors open during the evening when there's tasting, or?
We have applied for or filing an easement on the side of the building on the west side, and there is going to be a loading door put into the side of that building for access.
So because the reason why I'm asking is, obviously, if these doors at the front are going to remain open, what are the impacts to the surrounding community?
Sure.
Is there going to be noise, or are there individuals? How are you going to control the patrons from, entering and exiting through those front doors with alcoholic beverages?
Right. Well, there's different things that we can do. We can hire somebody to stand at the door and make sure that patrons don't go out. We can put a gate that has to, that patrons would have to go through. I mean, obviously, I think that our first call to action would be to have some sort of security person there at the door to make sure that no one's exiting the building with alcohol.
So you're proposing essentially what would be your main entrance on the side of the building? Is that correct?
On the side of the building, the small door, or the large door.
I guess, would you mind coming up
Sure.
to the plans and showing me where you're proposing to have?
Oh, the new door.
The new door,
Okay.
correct.
That would be the new door will be put in right here, and that's going to be mainly for deliveries, and it's going to be set for a fire exit.
Okay, so that's not going to be the main door used by your patrons. That's going to solely be the loading and unloading, your operational door.
Whatever the city requires, we can either use the smaller door or the larger door.
Okay, so you are proposing to use the existing
doors as the main
doors.
entrance.
Okay. So those were essentially my questions, because how is this going to be regulated, and if you were proposing, because unlike Glendale Tap, which is what essentially sort of looks like a bar,
right,
and acts like a bar, in this case you have these loading doors, and would it become more of a, are you proposing outside service in the front setback?
There is. We do have space allocated on the side here for service, but we haven't really explored that yet. But that's not immediate right now for this.
Okay.
I know that certain breweries have like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you mind stepping back up to the microphone? We just want to make sure that it's recorded properly. So.
I know that certain breweries, and depending on different breweries that I've been to, that have roll-up doors have been in use, and I've also seen breweries where they've put like ropes across, and then they have to use the the man door for that. So, I mean, we're ready to comply with whatever the city mandates for
Okay.
safety reasons.
So, and you have also read the conditions that were proposed for the establishment, I believe.
I have.
Just have. So these deal obviously with hours of operation, 2 a.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday as well. Beer shall be served only. Obviously,
Yes.
you're only proposing to serve paperback beer, but all the other constraints, or such as dancing, any live entertainment.
Yeah, no dancing, no live entertainment. I think everything here seems pretty straightforward, and we're on board.
Okay, because there was also a proposed condition which said that the front and side doors of the establishment shall be kept closed at all times when the location is open for business, except in the case. So just to make sure that you will not be utilizing these loading doors or the loading dock at
Yeah.
the front as an open, because obviously it would be wonderful to have
Right, open air coming into the brewery.
and have it more open, but based on the proposed conditions, that door would have to remain closed.
Okay, is that something that we can change in here to amend to keep the doors open?
Well, and that's something let us consider, because I want to make sure that in terms of any type of noise or noise impacts primarily
Yeah.
to the surrounding community, and also I would want to double check and see what we can possibly include in terms of noise control and also security control, because if those doors do remain open, that does lead to security issues and
Yeah.
possible noise issues.
Okay.
So let us take a look and see. But I can take that under consideration that you wish, if possible, to have the loading doors at the front remain open.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Okay. I believe that those are all the questions that I have at this moment. So thank you very much. If I have any further ones, or obviously you'll also be invited up for a rebuttal.
Great, thank
So,
you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Mike Lanzarotta.
My name is Mike Lanzarotta. I'm a commercial real estate broker. I assisted Paperback Brewing in finding their space and securing the sale of the property so they could operate the brewery there. I've also been the commercial broker who helped Brewery Yard Beer Company up in Glendale and the new Pacific Plate Brewery Tap Room coming up on Brand Boulevard. So I'm very thankful that Glendale has been welcoming to breweries. I think it's put them way ahead of a lot of other cities in the local area that have gone out, especially Tamar and Jennifer, have gone out to the brewery community and indicated that they are friendly and willing to work with the unique characteristics that bringing a brewery into a neighborhood is. So I wanted to thank Tamar and the city. I think this brewery will serve the mixed-use residents that are coming into that general area very well. Gives them an opportunity to taste some good, fresh craft beer. And that's only going to revitalize that area even more. As far as the roll-up door, you do go at other breweries and see the door open. A lot of them will have a security, folding metal gate across so people can't walk through. In that instance, across the street from them is a rental construction yard that's totally quiet at night. So I wouldn't anticipate too much noise going out that would bother anybody in the immediate area, but that's something for you guys to figure out. So thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out to speak. All right. Would you like your 5-minute rebuttal, if you wish, or to add any other comments that you have at this time? All right. Well, with that said, and because the parking has already been addressed, clearly with one parking space on the site, it will certainly be interesting, but that part, like I mentioned, the parking issue has been addressed previously by the previous approval. So with that said, I will take the matter under consideration, and I will render a decision shortly. You will receive notification of it in the mail. So with that said, thank you very much for coming, and I conclude the Planning Hearing Officer meeting of February 22nd. Thank you.